Of all perspectives, of all backgrounds, people that were here, people who weren't here, people who have lived with the legacy. And I think we've done that. We've got over 500 oral histories in our collection, many people that are in this gathering today. And it's really been our privilege to work with every single one of them. But so, this is a great day of renewal, restoral, and really vision of the future, and another testament to Detroiters' willingness to go beyond and go above and beyond and have that great resilience that we know that we're all made of. So with that, we're going to start our today's program, and it's, as I say, we've got an incredible group, and Congressman Conyers was serving his second term in 1967, and on this day, 50 years ago, to the day, something really important happened, and I'm going to let John tell you that story.
Top of the morning, everybody.
All right.
To all of our distinguished guests, starting, of course, with Mayor Duggan is here. Let's give him a round of applause. My colleague, Brenda Lawrence, is always on the case. We come together on this 50th anniversary to remember 1967. How many of you were around and can remember that day? Raise your hand. You were here, okay. So was I. And we're starting off with a remembrance because we need to make this a part of our permanent history. And the way we do that is by coming together like this to say, we remember this, we understand what happened, and then we say, never again. Let's say that, never again.
Never again.
Never again.
Never again.
Will we be caught in a situation where the tensions, the emotions are so high that we had the explosion that we did. Now, I want to just say one thing, not controversially, but police abuse was a thing.
Right on.
Let's face it.
Like it is.
The police were considered confrontational, disrespectful, not supportive. Few were. But it was part of the policy, and that's what we're in a way here to celebrate, that we've overcome that. We now have police chiefs of color, mayors of color. Coleman Young was the first. And remember, I remember telling Coleman that he ought to run for mayor, and he said, yeah, that's a joke, man. Because things were really uptight in those days. What we want to do is continue the goodwill, continue to build relations in the city, and we ought to take this story outside of the city, don't you think? We ought to let other communities know, and I'll be putting together with a few of the people up here ways in which we can travel to other venues to let them know the remarkable story of how we overcame our differences. We're in a different time now, a different situation, so it's easy for us to get together now and think nothing of it. But in those days, it was a different story entirely. And so I am so proud that all of us are here today to think and listen and say our piece about what we ought to do to go from here. Now, Detroit is on the move upward. We're going up. We're getting better. We're on the way up, and it's a great feeling, isn't it? It's fabulous. I'm so proud of the things that have been done and said to make everybody feel welcome. Not only those who live in Detroit, but those who come to Detroit. And so it's in that spirit that I welcome everybody here. I'm grateful for your attendance and also for your commitment with all of us to keep on keeping on and make Detroit even better and greater than it is now. Thank you so very, very much.
For those great words. You know, I said earlier that we've collected many stories, and that a story this big takes all of us in all the different perspectives. And we're really fortunate that Congressman Conyers and Congressman Brenda Lawrence shared their stories as part of our permanent digital archive. So with that, I would love to introduce Congressman Brenda Lawrence.
I want to say good afternoon to everyone. I just want to thank those who have kept our story alive. To be here today in this park where it happened, and someone from the audience said I was here. Ladies and gentlemen, as I sit here with our mayor and our county commissioner, Jewel Ware, and with my hero, John Conyers, I just want to say, in order to have an anniversary, something had to happen. And in 1967, something happened where it had a foundation and roots of negativity, and as we know, as a police force and a citizenry that did not have the same objective, or they weren't working together. Many of you know I served as a mayor of a city, and the importance of an engaged and respectful and responsive, well-trained police department is critical to the survival of a city. Now, when it happened, I was a child. And I remember, and I was telling someone because they were interviewing me today, something that was so powerful to me was when the military was brought into the city. And as a child, I said, who are they coming to fight? So, are they coming as a black girl watching all the disjustice and all the unjust things that are happening in the South and civil rights, and said, well, who are the enemy? Should I run when I see them because I'm black? Are they coming for me? I remember thinking, why are all these tanks and things coming into our city? And I remember my grandmother, who was from the South, who openly wept watching this riot. I remember her being embarrassed by the looting, and she said, that's not our people, and her praying at that time. So what happened, we capture it in the history books, but there was emotion and there were people who survived this and have the story to tell. So today we're saying it's the anniversary of something that happened in our city. And I've had people tell me, why are we celebrating this? Why are you bringing so much attention to something that was such a negative, dark time in our city? And I said, how often do you say that the city of Detroit is coming back, that there's a resurgence, and that Detroit is alive again? It had to come back from somewhere. It has to be a resurgence from something, and it is moving forward from where? So you can't forget your history. And this is not to make the riot something sexy or something that is, we clap our hands and give a toast of champagne to, but it is something that I hope, and I'm standing here today, to have another awakening, to have that sense of love for this city, that sense of an expectation that we deserve respect in our community as citizens, and that our police department continues to have grown from that point of a police department that when you're pulled over, you're treated like a human being and a citizen. A police department where we budget and train them and equip them. We want to make sure that block clubs and community groups continue to meet and talk, and then come forward to talk to your government about what we can do to fix our city and keep it strong. And as long as all of us understand we all played a role, we all played a role into what happened in 1967. Some of us were victims. And you say, how did I play a role in that? But when the anger gets to the point that no one's listening, and when the distrust gets to the point that I stop talking to you, and when you get to the point where you feel hopeless and no one reaches out their hand or no one stands up to try to instill hope in this great city, history can be repeated. But I'm here today because that's not our reality. I go from block club to block club and neighborhood associations where citizens of this great city say this is Detroit, and we are greater than the narrative that anyone has put on us. This is Detroit, and block by block we're going to rebuild this city. And this is Detroit, and while we love our downtown, we know that block by block in our neighborhoods is going to continue, because we're going to demand it, and we're going to be engaged, and we're going to support a government that will take us there. This is a Detroit that when I talk to my colleagues from around the country, they say, oh, I'm so impressed. I hear good things, and I tell them, come back, you'll be so surprised. I continue to be a proud child growing up on Lumpkin Street, meeting my husband when we had an anniversary yesterday, 45 years. I met him at Midway Market. Going to Corville, Nolan, and Pershing. I am this girl that grew up in this great city, and I'm proud to be a Detroiter. And every last one of you today standing in this spot where something happened in 1967, today, something is happening again on this 50th anniversary, and our children and the next generation will say that Detroit stood up. Detroit showed the world that we are a great city. And while we had a moment, it does not define us. God bless you and thank you.
(1967), 50 years ago, 10 years old. But I remember it vividly. My brother was here, 2 years younger than me. My nephew wasn't born yet, but 50 years ago, what I remember vividly, the tanks, the snipers. I lived in the 10th precinct. My dad, a military veteran, honorably discharged, and a Detroit Police Reserve officer. He worked at the 10th precinct. So when the rebellion, the riot, the insurrection started, my dad was deployed to provide safety at the 10th precinct. And having known my dad as a little guy, the one thing that I remember is some of the conversations he had with me about what it was like for him growing up in Detroit and the injustices between the Detroit Police Department then and African American men. And I said then, I will not be a police officer. And I held true to that because I wanted to be an automotive engineer. But something happened, a turn in the road. And then just 10 short years later, as fate would have it, I ended up as a Detroit police officer, and guess where? Assigned to the 10th precinct. 10 short years later. I remember these streets vividly. They look very different today. I was gone for 34 years. But I remember number 10. But the other thing that stuck out for me at number 10 was I worked with some of the same officers that were deployed during the '67 conflict. I faced discrimination, and I thought long and hard, is this a career? Is this a profession that I want to continue with? But I knew as a police officer I could only affect just so much change. And I always tell this to young people, you set a goal, set it high, and stay true to that goal and stay focused. And I knew then, if I really was going to be about change, I needed to lead this organization. Now, of course, it took me some time to get back, but I did get back. So 1977 DPD is not like 2017 DPD. It's not. Oh, let's get excited about that. Not just 67, 77. And so moving on to Los Angeles, and certainly having a front seat on the Rodney King unrest, 1992, the same time we had Malice Green here in Detroit. We hear very little about Malice Green in other parts of the country, but you know about it, yes? But everybody knows about Rodney King. So 1992 DPD was not the 2017 DPD. Thank you. Thank you. Then as we move forward with the pattern and practice of excessive force, illegal confinement, a consent judgment around 2003, DPD 2017 is not the DPD of 2002 and 03. Thank you. So while I was away from Detroit, I stayed tuned in because I was on a mission. Again, it took me some time to get back. So as I think about 50 years ago and think about my experiences across this country, you should be excited about the DPD today. Excited. Thank you. So as I close, I think about what it was like 4 years ago when I returned. A community that had lost confidence in the police department. A police department that had lost confidence in the leadership. Radio calls that went unanswered. Continued rising crime. Police station closed at 4 o'clock. No such thing as body cameras. A consent decree that had by now had run 11 years. And look at us now. When you look to my right, you see neighborhood police officers. 59 neighborhood police officers across this city. Come on now, somebody just, yes. Please give them a hand. Mayor Mike Duggan, who has embraced it. Let's give him a round of applause. Because here's what I know as police chief. It's one thing to go about the business of creating trust-based relationships, but if you don't have a relationship with the mayor, you can't get it done. And I tell you, we have a great partnership going, and we're going to continue to have that partnership for 4 more years. Come on now. So as I close out, I just want us to not forget, when we think of 1967, and of course the allegations of excessive force and brutality against our community, let's think today and think about the 10 Detroit police officers since September of last year that have either been shot or killed, and one is still fighting for his life as we speak. And then we think about this week in the last 3 days, where 3 police officers, or 3 different incidents where our police officers were faced with armed confrontations. Just know that the men and women of this police department are some of the best in the country. So let's thank them, let's bless them, let's pray for them, and thank you. May God bless the city of Detroit.
As somebody who was born in this city, thank you. Somebody who was born in this city, it's very painful to be standing here and think about what's going on. And it's especially poignant to be here with Congressman John Conyers. If you think about what we had here in 1967, Congressman Conyers, at personal peril, came out here, talked to the groups, tried to convince them that what we should do is work together. But we know that at that point, this was a city in which white and black Detroit experienced the police department in very different ways. They experienced housing opportunities in different ways, experienced job opportunities in different ways, and instead of reaching across the aisle in racial understanding, instead of trying to solve our problems, too many people turned their backs on each other and left this city for more than 60 years. I see things starting to come back. We still have folks who would rather argue than talk, but here's what I see. What the police department has done with the neighborhood police office with the body cameras, but one other thing Chief Craig didn't mention, I don't know if you saw this story. The new police chief of the city of Dallas is Detroit Deputy Chief Renee Hall. Now think about that. At a time of national tension between police and citizens across this country, major police departments are looking to Detroit for their leadership. Did you think you'd see that day? That's something that we wouldn't have seen 5 years ago. And the other reason I think we're going to be successful is because of community partners like Lamont Causey. If you look at what Lamont Causey has done every year in this neighborhood, this group sends the students back to school with new haircuts, with backpacks, with school supplies, making sure that our children know their value. And he has done an absolutely outstanding job of making sure that this weekend is about commemorating what went wrong, but celebrating what's right about Detroit. And I want to say congratulations to Lamont Causey and Brothers Always Together. You've done a great job.
Thank you so much, Mayor. This is the kind of negativity that we don't need to have. We didn't ask for that to come up here. Sir, can someone please escort him out of here? Thank you so much, y'all. Hey, you know what? This has been a wonderful program, and we're going to make sure it stays a wonderful program. We have a great mayor that's doing good things for the city of Detroit. We have a great mayor that's doing a great thing. We don't need that little bitty negativity that this guy doing. Please keep the negativity away. Let's keep this program moving. This is something that's special. We're going to let Jewel Ware come to the mic.
Thank you. Let me say peace and blessings to everyone. And that we came this far by faith. And we're going to keep on pushing and nothing's going to hold us back. I want to just give remarks and greetings and talk about right now today. We know why we're here. It's unfortunate what happened 50 years ago. But as we look around in our community, it's up to us to work together to try to rebuild and restore this community, to organize and to move forward, to continue to look out for our young people and our senior citizens. We must also, I meet so many young people that want to come back to the city of Detroit, and they say that sometimes they can't find work. I'm working hard with the mayor and other city council people. So as our families send people out to get their college degree, that they can come back to this city of Detroit and live in the city that they went to school where they were born and raised. So at these critical times, We must continue to organize, work hard, and although all the time we're not going to always agree on issues, we're not going to agree simply on how we was going to reorganize and rebuild Gordon Park, but it looks good, doesn't it? But that does not mean that we cannot work together as people. So let's just enjoy the weekend. We have a lot of people come out here today to be with us. Of course, you know the world is watching us, so thank you, Lamont, for all that you do with your community organization. I want to thank everyone. We want to thank our congressman that has been on the battlefield for civil rights all his life, all of his life. Time when he could have been with his family, he was out fighting for us. So, thank you.
12th Street! How's everybody today? It has been an honor and a privilege to be with you all over the last 3 days. I've been here since Friday. I kicked off Occupy the Corner on Friday. How many of you out here were on Friday? We're here Friday. We had a great time. The Dramatics performed and really just engaging with this area. We spent a lot of time this summer on the West Side, understanding that it was the 50th year anniversary for the 1967 riots. And listening to some of the stories and hearing the perseverance and the resilience of the people that have been here 30, 40 years, that have remained dedicated to the city of Detroit, has been very, very inspiring. So on today, I just want to give a round of applause to this community, to the residents that have been here and have remained here and are dedicated to the future of this city. So you all deserve a round of applause today. Yes. And so I just want to say, as we move forward in Detroit, it is extremely important that we remember the past, that we don't forget it, that we teach our young people, our millennials, those who are moving in the city, the past, what we went through, how it was decades long of oppression and issues that we went through as a people to get to the 1967 riots. But then that we also recognize the present. Where we are today, some of the opportunities that are here. We are getting ready to redevelop the Herman Kiefer site. Are you all excited about that? Finally! Herman Kiefer, which means jobs, which means opportunity. And so I want to make sure that you all are connected. My office is right up the street at the Williams Walker Center. If you all want to get connected with jobs and opportunity that is getting ready to come in this area, because you all have been waiting a long time. And it's only right that you are a part of the revitalization and the redevelopment that is going to take place in this area. So let's recognize where we are today. And then lastly, let's embrace the future. So remember the past, recognize where we are today, and embrace the future, all of the great things that are come before us. Again, I'm Councilwoman Mary Sheffield. Feel free to visit me on this side of town, right at the Joseph Walker Williams Center. I'm there every single day outside the Coleman Young Rec Center. All right? Thank you so much. God bless you all.
Councilwoman, thank you so much.
And really show them that the world can be 10 times bigger. And this person did this for me and helped me with my career. Bob Brady is Chief Operating Officer and President of Healthcare Operations for Henry Ford Health System. And Henry Ford Health System has played a major part in making today's event happen. And they also have been
You are now in your food bag.
So as an your support has been really important to this project. I want to thank everyone, my friend, Bob Brady.
Happy Sunday, everybody. On behalf of our CEO, Roy Glassiter, our Board of Trustees, and the 30,000 team members of Henry Ford Health System, I want to tell you how excited we are to both participate and support this important dedication. I have worked within 2 miles of here at Henry Ford Health System for 39 years. So I know something about perseverance, resolve, and stick-to-itiveness. Henry Ford Hospital, before, during, and after the summer of 1967, stuck to its mission, stuck to its commitment to patients and our communities, stuck to its unwavering commitment that the city of Detroit is and always will be our home, and stuck to its relentless pursuit of improvement and inclusion, equity in care, and access and improvement in health for all. Like the city of Detroit or any progressive company, we are not the same organization that we were in 1967. Our physicians, our nurses, our leadership all reflect the wonderful diversity of our communities. That was not always the case. While so many other health systems, as Marlo said, left the city of Detroit, we not only stayed, we increased our investment in the city, including the recent announcement of a world-class $150 million cancer center located that will be built right on West Grand Boulevard. Yeah, we're real excited about that for our community. We have launched incentive and financial assistance programs to encourage our employees to buy homes in the city of Detroit. We've developed employee resource groups representing the unique communities that we serve, such as the African American, Hispanic, Middle Eastern communities, just to name a few, so that we can continue to work on eliminating healthcare disparities, and they still exist today. We have increased our mobile and on-site health clinics with the Detroit Public Schools, and yet we wake up every day knowing that we need and must do more. Whether it's the new cancer center or this transformed park, let our 50-year anniversary of one of the most important events in our beloved city's history energize us even more to truly create a city that works for all Detroiters and a community that is safe, well in between our past, our present, and our exciting future. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you. Special thanks to the Henry Ford Health System, Chase, and PNC Foundation, and so many other people that have helped make this whole community engagement project possible. You know, I was saying now the moment we've all been waiting for, but I think there's been so many highlights of today's programs. But at the Detroit Historical Society, our job is to tell Detroit stories and why they matter, and appropriately acknowledge those and preserve those for the next generation. And we are very excited to, in just a few moments, unveil a State of Michigan historical marker that will mark this site in perpetuity. And before I do that, I'd like to introduce Jack Dempsey. He's from the State of Michigan Historical Commission, who worked with us to get this done in record time and an outstanding result. So if you'd like to, Jack is going to offer a few comments, and then we're going to head over to the marker, which is covered there, but you need to come back because the program's not done. As Lamont said, there's a lot more to follow, and there's some announcements and some additional special guests. So with that, Jack.
It is a real honor and privilege to be invited to be part of this historic event. I was born in Detroit. We've talked about uncles and children. My father was a member of the Michigan Civil Rights Commission. I'm proud to be representing the people of Michigan here at this event. As a member of the Michigan Historical Commission, we do not get financial compensation. We do this out of love for our state, for its people, for our heritage, our common heritage. And I'd like to have you give a round of applause to fellow Commissioner Joan Freer Capuano, who has just concluded her service on the commission, back there in the last row. The commission approves applications for historical markers. If they're insufficient in terms of the depth of the story or the backup for it, we do not approve them. But I'm proud to say that our commission approved the application that the Detroit Historical Society brought forward for this marker. And then the text, the story that goes up on this marker, what will it say? How will it deal with this very difficult issue? I'm pleased to say that the commission approved text that we worked with the Historical Society on, and it tells an important, critical story for this city, for you people, for all of us as Michiganders. So I'm honored to have been part of that. You've been here a long time. I know it's hot. I think I'm the last person before this ends, so I just want to end with a quote from an old and ancient piece of wisdom literature. Make a signpost where the road branches off to the city. You may know that from this book of Ezekiel, as some call it. This signpost that will stand here at this corner, you've made this signpost where the road branches off to the city. As we gather underneath these branches, as we dedicate this marker, think about how the road from this point forward branches, and which path will we take forward as a state, as a community together. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jack. Now we're going to head over to the marker over there, and we invite you to join us, and we'll have a friendly community-based unveiling, and I invite you all to come back because for a little more of the program.
Yeah, come back because I got some special guests. We'll be very blunt, okay? Don't leave. I got some special guests who came.